Welcome to fixing Minecraft's really weird features. And today, we're going to be starting out with the very infamous Desert Well, the most completely useless structure in the entire game. I decided to turn that Desert Well into a completely new biome. And this biome would be known as the Oasis. And it has a bunch of really cool features that I want to show you guys. So, because we're replacing the Desert Well, I decided to add actual useful features into this biome that the Desert Well should have had in place. So, the reason that the Desert Well was there in the first place, or why I think it was there in the first place, was because you needed some water in a vast desert without any water nearby. The problem is that deserts actually have a lot of water nearby, which I think should definitely be changed, so no rivers or any lakes in the desert biomes. I think that would really help provide the aesthetic of this oasis, and it would make it look a lot more interesting. So, with that in mind, having a bunch of cool features like having extra food would be super useful. The first feature that I want to introduce is the dates. They start out as date sprouts, and like sweet berries, they turn eventually into dates. They give a little bit more saturation and hunger than actual sweet berries. The next and very obvious feature of this biome is, of course, these palm trees. These are actually, if they were in the game, these would be growable, and you would grow them by obviously first getting your palm sapling, and obviously this would be a new kind of sapling, and it would eventually, when you grow it, it turns into this palm sprout. So this is not the full tree, but this is the palm sprout, the only way that you could get these palm sprouts instead of the palm planks. So, this is the first stage, and then if you bone meal it again, then it turns into your full-fledged palm tree. So, the palm sprouts work very similar to walls. They're basically a wood variant of a wall instead of fences, so we finally will get a wood texture on a wall shape. Again, it wouldn't look like andesite, that's just the closest thing that I could imagine would look like it. Obviously, you would have new palm logs, planks, and leaves. I just use azalea and jungle for the time being because there isn't an actual palm tree in the game, but I think that something similar to this, where the leaves don't change based on the biome, would look very nice because I think we need a little bit more of them in the game, like birch and spruce leaves. Moving through, just like we have the mud bricks in the new wild update, I think adding sandstone bricks would finally make a great addition to the game. We have not had sandstone bricks. We need them. They would fit so well in the builds that people would create, especially with the mud bricks and the sandstone bricks. They would fit super nicely together. So I think sandstone bricks would make a great addition to the game. There's a small chance that oases, I have no idea how to pronounce multiple oases. I don't know what it actually is, but there's a small chance for an oasis to actually spawn with what we call a hot spring. And as you can see, we're using campfires, but if you could stretch your imagination a little bit, it's basically what we would call a new particle, which would be steam. So we have a steam particle that could be produced by boiling water. The way we would get a hot water bucket to produce boiling water would be to put normal water in a cauldron and then light the bottom on fire. And after a certain amount of time, it would turn into boiling water. One of the most important features that I think would make a really big impact on the game, but would not make anything drastic at all, would be to add wet sand. Finally, we deserve to get wet sand, and I decided to add a really cool feature to wet sand, making it that palm trees, first of all, could be planted on wet sand, and along with that, sugarcane could be placed on wet sand without having to be next to a water source, making it almost double as efficient as a normal sugarcane farm to use wet sand. That would be so useful for the entire redstone community, and obviously the texture of it would be great for the building community. I think it would be a great addition to the game that adds some actual technical features and useful for building all in one block. I think that would be a great addition to the game, and Mojang, if you happen to be watching this, I think it would make a great addition to the wild update as well. Wet sand works very similarly to mud. So, again, we could make normal sand by putting wet sand on top of a block with dripstone under it, and then all the water drops out of the wet sand, converting it back into normal sand. When you plant a sapling, any sapling, inside of the oasis biome besides a palm sapling, it turns into a dead bush, finally giving us a renewable source of dead bush. because we didn't have a renewable source of dead bush before, and it was ridiculous that this was one of the most rare items in the entire game when all of us think of it as one of the most completely useless. But as a builder, trying to gather a mass ton of dead bushes for plants and foliage that you're trying to do around your build is annoying. So having an actual way to farm dead bush would be so useful for the entire building community. Here's my pitch for the new Oasis biome. I think that it would turn out really well and fits really well in with the Minecraft aesthetic. So, if you guys think that this is a good idea as well, make sure to comment down below and like the video. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these turning useless features into actual useful features in Minecraft, so if you want to see more of that, then make sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.